I love stories. Stories make my life better. They make your lives better too. They are cautionary tales that help me remember that my words and my actions do carry consequences. They're tales about tricksters that make me just laugh and happy to pass the time. Some stories also help decipher right from wrong. So stories can help us all make the best choices, the healthiest choices for ourselves and our communities as well. Now, let me tell you a story. This story is called Sun, Moon, and Water. And it is a story from the Yoruba people of Nigeria. This story tells you why is the sun and moon living in the sky? Well, a long time ago, before humans first walked on earth, the sun and moon lived together on earth as husband and wife. And the sun's greatest friend was the water, whom he visited often. And one day on his many visits, the sun said to the water, "Here I am visiting you again, and yet not once have you ever visited me." The water bubbled. "My dear friend, I should love to visit you and to meet your lovely wife, the moon, but I'm afraid your house is too small for me, and all those who come with me are part of me wherever I flow. You know, the shellfish, the starfish, and the butterfly fish, the shoals of sardines and swarms of mackerel, the sharp-toothed shark, and the mighty whale. Build yourself a huge kraal, my friend, a collection of huts surrounded by a fence, and I should love to visit you with pleasure again and again." "Then that's just what I'll do," said the sun. And with the help of his wife Moon, they set to work immediately building the greatest collection of huts surrounded by a fence, a kraal. This kraal stretched in all directions as far as the eye could see. And when it was completed, the sun sent his invitation to the water. Soon they could see the water coming in, crossing the plains, making his way amongst the trees and the hills, until at last it swirled in around their ankles. "Here I am, dear friend," the water bubbled, "so pleased to be visiting you and to be meeting your lovely wife, Moon. What a big and beautiful place you have built, just so I can visit you." Even as he spoke, the sun and moon were knee-deep in water, sparkling with fish big and small. "Are you sure there's room for us all? For we are not all here yet." "Certainly," smiled the sun. Without a doubt, beamed the moon. But when they said that, the sun and moon were perched on the highest part of their roof, while the flying fish passed them in the air. "Are you sure there's room for us all?" the water bubbled, his voice almost lost, as the whales crashed and blew, and he could not have heard the moon as she whispered fearfully, "I believe you're filling our kraal to overflowing." "Nonsense," the sun shouted. "There's room for everybody." Oh, but there wasn't. The water was lapping over the tops of the roof, and to make an escape, the sun and the moon had to leap up in the sky. Their leap sent them so far away that from Earth, the sun looked no bigger than a plum. And as they leapt up, the moon said to the sun, "I told you it was filling our kraal to overflowing." And those were the last words the moon ever spoke on Earth. And so now you know why the sun and the moon live in the sky. Sun, moon, and water. Stories like this, they are in every culture. They are in your culture, my culture. Because once upon a time, someone read you a story. Once upon a time, you heard a tale or two. Story time for me is sacred time created by you and by me. And in this sacred time, we can reminisce and we can reflect on how each tale relates to our lives. In my life, in my role of a storyteller, I have the intense pleasure of applying folk tales to ignite analytical and critical thinking in our youth And how do I do this? Well, first, I tell them a story. And then second phase, we dig into the story, dissecting characters, scenarios, objectives, reaction, action, decision making. And while we're doing this, you see, we are unaware of something. Most of these animal characters represent us, our humanity. And while we're digging through and not knowing this, we're able to observe human behavior through the characters. And in this safe and creative environment, we can receive messages with minds curious and hearts open. I love stories because stories, they're not just for the little ones, they are for you and for me. And they ignite the fearless child spirit in you. Stories ignite the fearless child spirit in me. Stories, they connect us. They humanize you and they humanize me. Now, our stories are told every day. They are stories of heroes and warriors of old. But our past doesn't have to be just about the once upon a time. Our past is in yesterday. Our past is in the interactions you made before taking your seats here tonight in this sacred space. You see, stories are indeed for me and you. You and me, we want the same things. Cultures everywhere desire the same things. We all want to make today better. We all want to learn from the past to make today and tomorrow better. And this desire to learn from our past mistakes resonates with cultures everywhere. And I know this for a fact. This is why. The United States of America is my second home. My first home is Ghana, where I was born and raised, a country on the western coast of the continent of Africa. Ghana sits right on the western coast above the equator and the Gulf of Guinea, which feeds into the Atlantic Ocean. When I moved here, I kept seeing a certain symbol. And I was puzzled because I thought, this symbol is not of this country. It's not of you. This symbol is mine. It's from Ghana. Makes no sense. Why this abundance of a foreign symbol in this country? What is this symbol? It's called Sankofa. Sankofa is a picture of a bird craning its head to reach its back, craning its head to pick up from its back. Sankofa is an Adinkra symbol. And the Adinkra symbols come from the Ashanti region of Ghana. Sankofa is a tree phrase. Tree is one of the many languages spoken in Ghana. Now, San means return, go back. Kofa means go and take. Sankofa, go and take from the vast experiences and lessons learned from our elders, our ancestors, and offered to us to better today and tomorrow. Sankofa. And in this symbol, a new home was revealed to me. I realized that I am of you, you are of me. My core values are your core values. Your home is mine too. Sankofa gave me a second home, this country. And it tells me that I am not alone. I never walk alone because I am with family. Sankofa also reminds me that stories demand this of all of us. We know and understand this, that a culture is not one person's or one group's narrative. No. Every culture everywhere consists of the beautiful, the uncomfortable, the puzzling, the good. Cultures everywhere are the same. There are multitudes of narratives, and they dance. Oh, they dance. They spin, they turn, they edge, they swerve, they bend and stretch. No room for stagnation. Cultures, they quicken and they saunter. Cultures are alive. Cultures are breathing and alive. Your cultures breathe and they are alive. They are not stagnant. They are forever evolving. And in knowing that, I understand there is no the other. There is no those people. Sankofa says, you, my elders, my brothers, my sisters, let's go. Let's have a party. Let's Sankofa. How do you Sankofa? I'll tell you. By talking stories. Talking stories, like they say in Hawaii, reveals often perplexing, often powerful, and surprising element for the speaker and the receiver. In talking stories, I reveal myself to you. I share my desires, my whims, my fears, my insecurities with you. In talking stories, we connect, we get uplifted, we are provoked, ignited, empowered to be better than we are today. Talking stories, though, that's difficult. It's not easy. Talking stories is a brave act. It is a brave act of unveiling. Oh, it is so uncomfortable, so painful for me to open up and share with you my dreams, to make myself vulnerable to you, to trust you. It is painful, but it is also soothing. It is worth it to talk stories. Now, my elders and my sisters and my brothers, draw the little ones to you. Embrace them. Share your stories with them. Encourage them to share their own stories. Guide them to find their true voice, their own voice. Reawaken the griot in you. The griot is the storyteller in you. You are storytellers right here. Heroes and warriors, you are right here. Share your history because you are the keeper of your own history. And share them especially with the young ones, the eager, hungry, receptive hearts of our ancestors. Share stories, talk stories, for you find out that stories, they illuminate a different way of being, a better way of being. And if you're still on the fence, let me tell you, for me, my love for storytelling grows as they continuously remind me and teach me that my words have meaning. My life has meaning. Stories teach you, brothers and sisters, your life has meaning. Your words have meaning. Stories are a passport to a better way of being. Sisters, brothers, elders, we all have problems. Every country, every culture, we have struggles, we have successes, we have nightmares. But know this, all the solutions to all of our problems, all of them, is housed in all of our personal stories. Talk stories.